Hi, my name is Maren Montalbano, and I'm a mezzo-soprano. Well, kind of since birth, both my parents are musicians. My dad's a jazz trumpet player, and my mom is a violinist, classical violinist. And um, my mom often talks about when she was in the orchestra and she was pregnant, that I was getting my musical education from the very womb. So I did start off being a violinist. I started playing violin when I was 3 years old. And then I started singing a lot. And I joined the San Francisco Girls Chorus when I was 7. And I found that that was something that really spoke to me a lot more. It was a lot more immediate um, access to the art than was violin. So I continued to sing ever since then. I went to New England Conservatory of Music and Tufts University. It was a double degree program. So I got a Bachelor of Arts in Drama from Tufts and a Bachelor of Arts in Vocal Performance from New England Conservatory. So I think I got a really good education from sort of both sides of the spectrum from the liberal arts as well as a conservatory education. And I'm so happy for that because it allows me to really see music from a whole lot of different perspectives, and it informs my performance quite a bit. And as I said before, it kind of started in the womb, so I'm not entirely sure, but I can tell you something that kind of got me hooked on performing. When I was this was after I was in the San Francisco Girls Chorus for a few years, and certainly the Girls Chorus did a lot to really hook me on performing. We got to perform with the San Francisco Opera, and that really started my love for opera. But just the idea of having my own sort of voice on stage outside of a choral uh, capacity. Um, I'll give you this one fun example. When I was 9 years old, my dad was the music director on a cruise ship on Royal Viking Cruise Lines, and he got permission to bring me along for a month, and I got to be a part of his act, his jazz act, and I did a little like Shirley Temple kind of thing, and it was so much fun because I got to play with the guys on stage, and it really that was my very first opportunity to kind of ham it up a little bit, and that definitely resonated with me. My first performance with Network was in 2014 when I got to premiere a work by Jeremy Gill, who is a friend of mine, called Helion. And it was a beautiful piece and incredibly hard, probably one of the hardest solo works that I'd done up until then. And I'm so glad that I got to do it with Network because I feel like not only did I get to a chance to perform this fantastic piece by my friend, but I got to do it in front of people who really appreciated that kind of music. And I also I met new friends and got to perform with um, other members of the Network Ensemble. In 2016, I sang with a part of the Germantown project, and we went to the public library several times to workshop these pieces, basically creating art with the public. And the public would create these poems, and then we'd improvise some music, me and the other network ensemble members, and it was so fun and freeing and very much outside of this kind of like staid classical music kind of world. And I'm so grateful to Network for allowing me to step outside of my comfort zone and just have fun. So I don't really have like average days or typical days. Most of my days it depends on what my schedule is. But I guess a typical day for me is I get up, I go to the gym, and then I come home and I start doing some work. And usually I'll spend the morning working on my own projects and doing research for my projects, finding music, reading through music, that kind of thing. And then I will take a break for lunch, and then I start practicing stuff for things that are coming up, performances, rehearsals, that kind of stuff. I do perform a lot of new music, and more often than not, it needs to be memorized. So I put in the work to do the memory work. And then in the evening, sometimes there are rehearsals, sometimes there are recordings. I perform a lot with Opera Philadelphia and The Crossing, and I also have my own trio called Trio Eos. So evenings are usually when rehearsals with those groups happen. And then I come home and I go to bed and start all over again. And it's the best because I spend all of my day immersed in music, and I love it. Okay, I love this question because gives me an opportunity to talk about my process, and I love talking about process. Um, Usually, when I get new music, I immediately go through the score and start finding the trouble spots, things that I think are probably going to need a little bit more work than others. Like I can read through stuff pretty quickly, but like if there's some odd intervals or odd harmonizations, those are things that may need to be woodshed a little bit. Um, but then I also read through the poem, and I do a lot of cerebral work right at the beginning. I think about what the piece is about, how it's going to inform my performance. And then I start practicing. So when I practice, a lot of it has to do with like I will memorize a piece. I tried to memorize a piece, and with that memorization comes repetition. I actually have a whole system of memorization, and it involves grids and spreadsheets, and I absolutely love it, but I don't want to bore you with that. But I find that when I do that much repetition, it gives me a chance to slow down and really think about, okay, how am I going to perform these three bars? Like, what's the best way? Let me try it this way. Let me try it this way. Let me try it this way. And those are all really great ways to kind of do a deep dive into the artistic part of the work. So I get my memorization in, and I also get to do some like fun cerebral work as well.